Alright, so really quickly, we are going to go over the assignment that you are going to do here at the beginning of the week. First note, this should not be an assignment that takes you forever. This is one that we would do in class in a single class period, not even a whole class period, so whatever you do, don't feel like this needs to take you forever. It's simply like a sort of fun intro into what we're going to be talking about. As you may know, we're going to start talking about dystopian literature. We're going to read a book together. If you would like to get a copy of Fahrenheit 451, you totally may. Otherwise, I'm going to record videos of myself reading the book out loud to you. So, I've mentioned that before, but there's just that for later in the week. As you may know, a dystopian society is one that falls apart. Like Hunger Games is an example of a dystopia, a world that is really, really, really unequal, works out really well for some people and is horrible for others. You, today, though, are going to try to create your own utopia, your own world that is as perfect as it could be. The best version of a world you can come up with. So you're going to pretend like something has happened and you have the ability to be in charge, either of like a city or a state or the entire world. You can decide how big you want your whole thing to be. This is the important thing about your group, is we're going to try something new, and I honestly don't know how this is going to go. You have the option to either do this by yourself, or you can do this assignment with a group of up to 4 people, and here's where things are going to get weird. You may choose anyone who has me as their English 1 teacher. So maybe you're in 4th hour, but your best friend is in 7th hour. That's great. Maybe you're in 7th hour, but your best friend is in 8th hour. That's great. You can work on this together. So that's how the groups are going to go. Up to 4 people from Wimmer, English 1, 4th hour, 7th hour, 8th hour. I assume you know who your friends have. Text them, call them, whatever. Do this on the phone, or do it by yourself if that is easier for you, because again, it's not a super hard assignment, just fun. Your job is to make life better for the people that you choose, that we will talk more about in a second. So you're going to collaborate, you're going to create a Google presentation. You can talk about it via email, you can talk about it via FaceTime. I don't care how you talk about it, but together you're going to create a Google presentation. You're going to turn it in on a Google Doc that's going to be on Moodle, and that should be pretty clear. There will be instructions on that. So just look for the turn on thing on Moodle in a little bit. You're going to try to make the world as close to perfect as you possibly can. Perfect, of course, is perfect according to you. So if you're a huge tennis player, maybe you want tennis to be a big part of your world. If you're a big Harry Potter nerd, maybe you want Harry Potter to be a big part of your world. But who would do that, though? Am I right, you guys? So first, you're going to talk about some things that you see wrong in the world today. Some of them can be goofy. So you can say things like, homework is the worst thing in the world. It's not really, but you can say that for now. You can talk about your siblings were annoying. You can talk about how video games are expensive. However, I want you to try to think of a few things that are more real as well, right? Like people struggle from poverty, and I'm sorry, but like poverty is worse than homework, right? Or like inequality, but I want you to try to be more specific, right? Or think about a specific, I mean, there's inequality, there's injustice all over our world. Can you find a thing or two that you would try to fix in your world that you're going to come up with? So you're going to answer all the following things. There are 5 things that are required, and then the last one, there's a whole bunch. You're going to choose 2. So you have to do these top 5. That's 5 slides, and then you're going to choose 2 of this whole list. That's 7. So you should have 7 slides on your Google slide. Of course, you can have pictures, you can pizzazz it up, you can be ridiculous. Some of you will have fun with this, but you need to have at least 7. The first slide should be the name of your society. Your name should reflect something real about your utopia. Maybe you're going to say that Mr. Sportel is the emperor of your utopia. You think the world would legitimately be better, and so you call your utopia, like, I don't know, Sportel, or like Orange, or something like that. Or you could call it like Mouse Rat, but later you're going to have to be serious, but your name doesn't have to be serious, but maybe have it to do something with where you're going to go with this. So you should probably decide a little bit about your utopia before you name it. Oh, nice. There goes the lesson for later. Next thing, after you, or maybe even before you name it, but the next slide is going to be a list of things that you think are wrong with the world in 2020. You can be really, really specific, so you can say, here are some things that are wrong in Holland or in Holland Christian, or you can go broader and you can say, here are some things I struggle with in the United States, or here are some things I struggle with in the world. If you can have some goofy ones, like I said, like the homework one or whatever, or the video games one, but you have to have some that are serious. So maybe like 2 goofy, 3 serious, because you need to have at least 5 issues, right? So some examples that I thought of really quickly, I would say like, I think people are mean, or I could say something about like, I think it's too easy to like cyberbully. So in my world, we're going to get rid of all social media, right? Or I think the pollution is terrible and people keep polluting in the world in 2020, and so I'm creating a world where there are no materials that you can pollute with. Or you can be like a goofy one, but I don't know. I bought a Nintendo Switch, so am I cool? That's also where my brain is. I played Zelda for 3 hours this morning. So there it is, 5 things, 2 goofy, 3 real, serious things that you think are wrong with the world today. Then you're going to come up with a super short slogan. This one should be very short. Like, all of these should be pretty short, but this is literally like 1 sentence, right? Sum up the most important parts of your utopia in 1 sentence. So like Pawnee, first in friendship, fourth in obesity, tells me a couple very important things about the town of Pawnee. If you haven't watched Parks and Rec, that's your other homework assignment for today. And then you're going to come up with at least 5 rules. So up here you said 5 things that you don't like about today's world, and down here you're going to say, here are 5 things that are true about my world. Now, this is not an opportunity for you to say something rude, right? Like, I'm not going to have a rule of mine be no one named Josie is allowed, because I love everyone I've ever known named Josie. And also, this is not your opportunity to be like, haha, I don't know, and pick on your one friend who you can't, whatever. You need to have a good reason. You know what I'm trying to say. Shout out, hi Josie, it's great to see you today. Give me a, also I'm sorry that was your name. I used it last year because I didn't have any Josies, but now I realize that I do, and so this is awkward. But everyone say something really nice to Josie today. Text her and say kind things to her, since that was probably the worst of me. Then you are going to give a short explanation of why you chose each rule. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about for each rule. So one rule in my utopia would be, Life in My World is a musical, so at least 20% of every interaction should include a song. So if you're talking, you're having a serious conversation, then all of a sudden, just like in High School Musical, you have to jump into a song. At least 20% of every conversation needs to be a song. That's kind of a goofy rule, but here's my rationale, and this is where, like, this kind of is a real thing. Singing allows us, 1, to let our stupid guard down, which I think is an issue in today's world, and so I think that singing will help us do that. I also think that it creates joy, and I also think that if you have to sing, you have to come up with song lyrics that maybe rhyme, and so you have to go slowly, and which would reduce the number of like negative comments or bullying, because when you've had time to think things over, oftentimes we say things much more kindly than we would have the first time. So even if your rule is goofy, which it totally can be, again, this is where you can still say some real things. I kind of gave you 3 reasons for that one rule. You can totally do that. Honestly, 1 would be enough, but you know, for a couple of them, if you can have a couple reasons, especially if your rule is goofy, it's better to have a few reasons down here for the rationale. But it should not be longer than that. So you're going to have on your 4th slide your rules really, really quickly. Here's the rule. Here's why we did it. The governing body. So this one, again, should be very, very short. So simply you're going to say, we're going to have a democracy, we're going to have an anarchy, we're going to have a monarchy, we're going to have whatever it is, like whatever. Or you could just say, like, we think that student body president Christopher Kingdom Greer should also be in charge of the world, and that is because, and then you're going to give me 1 short sentence why, okay? In the society, you, whatever. So those are the 5 sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Those are the 5 required ones you have to do. And then you by yourself, or you and your friend, or group of up to 4 are going to choose 2 of these really quickly. So do not do all of them. But really quickly read through these. Do you want to tell me more about the people who will live in your society? Do you want to tell me about what the education system will be like? Do you want to tell me about jobs or entertainment? Do you want to tell me what the role of technology will be? Will there be more? Will there be less? Talk to me about religion. You can talk about arts and media. You can talk about the physical structure. So where, if it's not the whole world, where would you be? Or would you have requirements for where people live or what things look like? Law and order. So like, how would you deal with people who break the rules, right? If people don't sing 20% of the time, then how am I going to punish them in order to enforce the rules that I think are important? How are you going to take care of people? And then if you think I'm forgetting anything, or if you just want to have like a miscellaneous one that's just random stuff about your utopia, that's totally okay. So again, that is what you are going to do. You have a couple days to do it. We are going to come back to this at the end of the unit. And so whatever you do, just don't forget about it because this is actually going to matter in the end. So that is all of the information. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know if you have questions about your group. But again, your group can be up to 4 people, and you can be in any class as long as I am the teacher. So all the information for turning things in is on Moodle. Reach out with questions. I think that you're great, and I miss you, and I hope things are going well. And if I had a utopia, you would all be in it.